Welcome to the D6 Family Ministry Podcast, a place where ideas, principles, and personalities come together to give you a ministry advantage that empowers the church and home.
I don't know anything more important in our society or in the kingdom of God than to help the church, help the family.
Discipleship is not an event, it's a way of life.
And one day it just hit me that discipleship at home was not about doing more. It was about inviting Christ into what we were already doing.
The goal of family ministry is not families sitting on the couch holding hands and singing Kumbaya. The ultimate goal is families that love God, love people, and make disciples of all peoples.
So that's why you're here. You're here to say 1 hour a week, as significant and as awesome as it is, we know that it's not enough and we want to be intentional with every hour.
You're listening to the D6 Podcast. Here are your hosts, Marianne Howard, Ron Hunter, and Josh Wooten.
Let me ask this question. What's on your feet right now?
Are you talking to me? I'm assuming because I am the sneakerhead in this bunch.
I am talking to you right now.
I am currently sporting a pair of favorite Jordans. They're Jordan 1s. That's my favorites. 1s, 4s, and 5s. But 1s, they're called Defiance. They're black, white, and red. Like my kids make fun of me. I have way too many black, red, and white Jordans, but I don't think I can have too many. So there, I have an issue. I have a 10 issue.
Okay, here's my other question for you, Josh. In the closet, in your master bedroom, when you walk in, we have Lena, your wife, and we have Josh, the husband. I want to know who has the most shoes in your closet.
Oh my gosh, I'm so ashamed right now. I brought shame to my family. We actually don't even share a closet. She has the bigger closet, but I definitely have more shoes than she does. I have problems.
One thing that our audience needs to know about Josh Wooten is he does judge you based on the shoes that you wear. So when you greet him and meet him, he will look you in the eyes at first, but he will quickly look down at your feet.
Oh, no. He's already checked your feet out 20 yards before you got
Yes,
right.
I will admit, I make shoe contact before eye contact even sometimes.
Even via Zoom, people. This man can see my shoes when I walk into my office via Zoom. It is crazy.
I had one other friend in my life that was a big Air Jordan fan, but Josh, I think you eclipse that guy in all your habits way beyond. You're not the only one, and if you're not aware, there are many, many fans of Air Jordans out there. So describe what this fan looks like. Not you. I know you will describe you, Josh, but what is this person who has this infatuation with shoes and Air Jordans that make this what it is? Help our listeners understand. And this is the segue into our counseling therapy, just so you know.
Yes, I need it. My goodness gracious, I need it so bad. It's a sneaker culture. It's not even just there is a culture of people that have been driven. It's been since the 80s, since like 1985 when Jordans first came out. He was really the Nike was a fledgling brand and really unknown in the basketball world, and then Jordan was, they took a chance on a guy. It's probably the best sign they ever made. They signed Jordan when he was a rookie and hadn't proven himself at all. And the shoe, the first one they even came out with was banned, from the NBA when he first came out with it, the black and red ones, because they didn't have enough white or color, they were just too colorful, not enough white on them. And that's kind of what started the whole movement, because these shoes were so cool. Nike marketed them with the black bar over the shoes, and a shoe so awesome the NBA won't even allow it on the floor. And it was different. It was cool, and your outfit could be jacked up as long as your shoes were clean. And I grew up in an area where your tennis shoes were everything.
Yes.
And my grandma gave me one pair of Jordans a year, and that's just the way I grew up. And now I'm old and can afford to buy a few more, and that's what I do. I have problems.
So what's your absolute all-time favorite pair, and do you wear them?
I do have a pair of Air Jordan 1s that are from 1994 They are the first time they re-released the ones from 1985. You can't find a pair of 1985s really that you could wear. They would dry rot. The soles would not be good. There are a few pairs out there, but I came across a pair of 1994, the year I graduated from high school, and they were the Air Jordan 1s, and I have them, and they sit in my closet, and I wear them on very special occasions. I've maybe worn them 3 times.
So let me put in a shameless plug for Josh here. If you happen to own a 1985 pair of Air Jordans in the box and you're not doing anything with them, just ship them to Randall House. We will deliver them gift wrapped to Josh on your behalf. How about that?
Christmas is right around the corner, people.
Yeah.
What a gift. What a gift. Now, the other thing I like about Josh, Marianne, this is pick on Josh intro time. So yes. I think we set off the air that we were going to try to make Josh as uncomfortable as we possibly could before getting into his interview. Yeah. My other part is when Josh lapses into his voice that he makes fun of people, he turns into Grandpa Josh. Have you noticed that?
He does. You're so right.
So Josh is ready to make fun of me now after that comment, I'm sure.
Yeah, back in my day. No, I'm just kidding. We're going to actually, I don't know, enough about me. Let's talk about you, Ron. Let's talk about D6 every day. It's so awkward. This is the worst thing, have people talk about myself. I could talk about shoes all day, but I don't want to talk about me. I want to talk about D6 every day just for a second, because I think one of the things that we have learned in this past year is the importance of utilizing the time at home that we have with parents and realizing that church is not an event or a place that we go to, but discipleship should be happening in the home 7 days a week. And when families are forced in the home, it was like the timing was wonderful as far as this curriculum coming out, because what it does is, that fraction that D6 puts on their t-shirts, 1/168. And, on the back, I'd wear this shirt and everybody would ask, well, what's that 1/168 mean? And it would be a great opportunity for me to talk about, the fact that 1/168, well, it's 1 hour over 168 a week. And it's not enough. No matter how awesome we make that 1 hour at church, it is not enough. And discipleship happens over time, and it is a continual process. It's something you can't microwave. It's the crock pot that stays on for a long time. And this curriculum just does a great job of empowering parents. And really, I love the every day, because discipleship should be happening every day and helps parents to create and identify those teachable moments, as Deuteronomy 6 tells us, as we walk along the path, when we talk about them, when you get up and when you lie down. And this really just gives a great resource to help empower parents to do that.
Marianne, I think we flummoxed Josh. I think I've never seen him at a loss for words like he has been in the last 10 minutes. I've loved it. How about you?
Absolutely. And, he actually, him talking about D6 every day segues into this conversation that we're about to listen to so beautifully. This man is very passionate about families. And I know him personally, and the man that he is, on the stage at his church is also the man that he is in his home. And he loves his wife and his children beautifully and biblically. And I am just so excited that you guys are going to get to hear from our friend, Josh Wooten. And I want to also just say, get ready, get your pens ready. If you're driving, you might want to pull over for this episode, because I wrote so many things down that has inspired the way that I lead in ministry. So if you're driving right now, you might want to pull over and get a pen ready, because it's going to be good.
I totally agree. Josh is, I've watched him navigate some incredible areas of his life, both personally and professionally. And he, like everybody else, bumps into speed bumps along the way. And what I have seen him do is always take a biblically humble approach. Times when I don't think I would have had the kind of patience that even Josh would in some of these statements, in some of these instances. And he would make statements but I need to make sure God is leading. And he and Lena have 2 incredible kids that they have been raising and nurturing in some wonderful ways. So when we get back from the break, you're going to get a chance to peek under the hood or should I say into the sneaker of, the life of Josh Wooten.
Are you concerned about your church's future? Will it serve another generation? The Bible says He is the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and yet we often only know how to connect to Abraham. Let D6 help you connect with each generation. Your kids and grandkids are counting on you. D6 comes from the principles of Deuteronomy 6 and helps what happens in church also happen at home. Curriculum you can trust. Discipleship that connects.
It's always good to have a fellow sneakerhead here to interview. Our guest today, Josh Wooten, not only is he, I'm going to read your bio in a second because you're very impressive.
No.
But let's start with our love for sneakers.
Yes, we both share affinity for old school Jordans.
Currently, you've got Jordan 1 suede. You said, what's the official name?
The official name are Winter Wheat Ones.
Winter Wheat Ones.
Yes.
Now, those of you who don't know, who aren't into sneakers like we are, it's a whole thing.
It is a thing. It's a culture, and
yeah,
it's like Forrest Gump said. You can tell a lot about a person by their shoes.
Yeah, and here's the thing. I rolled up into Randall House one time with my Tinker Jordan 3s.
Yes, you did.
And you basically called them by name and knew everything about them, and immediately I knew we would be friends forever.
Game recognizes game, as they say. So yeah.
All right. Hey, listen. Josh Wooten is our guest today. And besides being a sneaker lover, he's the husband to Lena, dad to Hannah and Ryman. He's a family pastor, speaker, songwriter. You love Jesus?
Yes, I do, with everything I have, man.
He loves good music, outdoors, sports. Who's your sports teams?
Oh, unfortunately, the Titans and Vanderbilt Commodores.
I'm suffering with you. Yeah. Oh, he served in full-time ministry for over 18 years. He's a creative voice in the family ministry movement, that is for sure. His passion for ministry is contagious, and he seeks to bring joy to every person he comes in contact with, and he's going to do that for us today. You bring joy to everybody listening, Josh.
Good night, man. What an introduction. I think I should just step out now.
No pressure.
Thank you, sir, for having me.
No pressure. You and your awesome shoes need to get going. Hey, we're going to talk today about a lot of things, actually, but you're a family minister by profession. You do a lot of things, actually. You're a video guy, graphic designer, musician, all this stuff, but you actually professionally you're a family minister.
Yes, all of those other things are hobbies and that I dabble in or past careers, but yes, currently I'm a family pastor.
And there's got to be a ton of those listening and people who work for those and in those settings, for sure. That's a lot of our audience. And you have to manage a lot. There's a lot of hats when you're the head family minister in charge of preschool, children, youth, college, millennials, grandparents, volunteers, weekly events. Am I making you tired?
Yeah, just thinking about it.
Your to-do list is now flowing through your head as I talk. So listen, the thing that I want to talk about today is one of the things that is a struggle. With all of those elements involved, it's easy, and usually there's a leader attached to a lot of those, and if you hire good leaders, then they have their own unique visions. So what I want to talk about is how we avoid that silo mentality. That's kind of a generic term that's used a lot, but really it's getting people to think in the same direction. It's way easier said than done, correct?
Yes, it's, you want to bring everybody and have their visions, and even though they may be unique, align them to at least where you are heading in the right direction and trying to accomplish the same mission. The way you do it may be a little different in each ministry, but ultimately our goal is to empower parents and to make stronger families, because I believe stronger families make stronger churches, and a stronger church makes a stronger kingdom. The silo mentality is something in many cases, it's wild, but I've learned that a lot of churches don't even recognize that there are silos. And, silos are huge. You can't miss them. That's what you see on the farm. They rise above everything. And so a lot of times in churches, they can be like invisible elephants, and I think part of the
the main thing that you can do to help break them down is just first recognize that they're there, and bringing groups together. You have to build bridges within those ministries, within the preschool, the kids, the students, college, continuing to build bridges and connect them with the larger body, playing together, having events where you all come together and play together, serve together, worship together. It's like the great philosopher Troy Bolton said, we're all in this together. You know what I mean? And we need to work as such, because the truth is we need each other. Every age group needs the other one to do what God has called it to do and to be what it's called it to be. I have a lot of, see this sometimes, that the senior adults sometimes will check out and say, well, my time in student ministry is done. And I'm like, no, you contain a wealth of knowledge and breadth of wisdom that these guys need. God is not done with you. I don't read about retirement anywhere in Scripture. Come on back and help us, partner and connect families with older grandparents, and to help them minister to them and disciple them as well. And even of course the older people, they need the younger people. That is the future of their church, and so I think we recognize and we need each other, and that's a good philosophy that I try to live by in regards to breaking down those silos.
Yeah, and I think about let's see what you think about this thought. Like, our brains, since we were cave people, and we were trying to survive. Our brains are designed to survive, so therefore we're driven by what threatens us. Like, if we're starving, we're motivated to go hunt or to plant. And as ministers, that actually, we're motivated by either a passion and a calling. We're motivated by that, but also at times we're motivated by, I don't want to lose my job, I don't want to lose my gig, or I want to do well. I don't want people to look down on me or think that I'm doing a bad job. So wouldn't it be true that one of the ways we can get people on the same page is communicating clearly? We measure your value and success to this organization by how well you align to this one vision.
Exactly right. It's got to come down from the top, and it's got to be a culture of that has to be bred within the church. That we are for one another. We get to do this. We this is the goal. This is the ultimate goal. It's like there was a team, a sports team. Winning is the goal, but it's not our purpose. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, we all want to have wins within our ministry, but our purpose is not just to win as a ministry. If a student ministry is thriving, but a children's ministry is suffering, and they're pulling all the leaders from children to youth because it's more fun, it's easier, or whatever it is, the church doesn't win in that. I mean, the youth ministry may thrive, but we have to work together to all, defining that win, what it looks like, and it's when everybody wins.
Yeah, because I'm trying to break this down real talk, because here's the deal. You're going to have ministers that are youth ministers, and they got into this thing as a calling from Jesus to get after the teenagers in their ministry. They might not have signed up to this deal to go along with your family ministry cohesive vision. It's not like they don't like it or disrespect it, but there might be somebody listening to this that would agree. And if they were really just honest, they would say, I don't do the family ministry piece out of a sense of passion. And so they have to do it from somewhere else, right? So as leader, isn't it important to kind of, I'm not talking about threatening them, but to be able to say, you know what, we need to do this. How do you get past that?
That's a good question. I think, once again, in the interview process, when you're bringing these people on board, they need to realize that is the vision, and also helping other ministries, maybe finding ways that other ministries can help serve the students and help him in his mission. You know what I mean? Like, hey, we're having an event, hey, we're having a parents' night out. Your kids are needing money for mission trips. How about, you round up some kids and y'all can do the child care here. And they're like, okay, wait a minute, you're helping me raise money for my mission trip. That's awesome. And then ways, hey, see this, you're actually also giving back to the kids and the families and the parent ministry, and the parents, to give them a night off. Everybody's winning here. See how that works when we work together? You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. So this is transferable. I'm always looking for, quit smiling for a kid. You're smiling for your wife, taking
She's
pictures
trying
of
to
you
tell
right
me
now.
to get into the microphone. This mic is going to pick up my voice. It's all good, sweetheart.
We got marriage going on right here.
It's not my children. The microphone hears me. I'm just kidding. My kids love me, and they hear me most of the time.
So I kind of love the transferable principle here, which is maybe as us, if we're breaking down silos, maybe it's literally about leading the ministers on our staff to catch the vision and value of family ministry. So, and I'm going to ask this a little bit later, but I do wonder what happens if they eventually just don't and won't. What do we got to do? We'll talk about that in a second. But I want to talk about the seminar you're leading here at D6. You're basically they gave me kind of your description. I'm sure it's got a snappy title, but you're basically talking about how to discover practical ways to partner with other ministries within your church, which kind of goes along with what we're talking about. Give us some highlights from the seminar that might be able to help us.
I'm going to be talking a lot about church-wide initiatives and not, just kids events or student events or those initiatives, but actually church-wide where you are bringing every age group on the same page. I'm going to be talking about curriculum that aligns, with every age group. Of course, D6 is one of the people that do that. They do it very well. And empowering parents and grandparents in the church to keep that conversation going for the rest of the week, and not just on Sunday mornings where we come together, but empowering them to keep that going throughout the rest of the week. And also I'm going to be sharing on the importance of having kids and students serve the larger body, even on Sunday mornings, and ways that they can partner with them and actually train up the children in the way they should go, and they're not, a lot of times people say they're the church of tomorrow. Well, they're the church of today. We need to empower them. Throughout Scripture, God uses a lot of young people to do some amazingly big things in His Word and in His story, and we need to empower those kids. One of the things that I got shook at a conference a little while back by a millennial that was giving a talk about millennials, and he said, it breaks my heart that the most cause-driven people group to come along in a long time is not connecting with the most cause-driven organization or organism that is the church. We give them, hey, won't you come on board? They get passionate about the church, and we give them a stack of bulletins to hand out. Not downing first impressions or a bulletin handed out, but they're desiring a little more, and we need to be able to help facilitate that and give them more. They're hungry to make a difference in the world, and what better place and organization for them to partner with and be trained with them, the church, and just helping older people get that, and just helping younger people get that as well. Like I said, it's us.
You're nailing something that I think is a classic example of one of those things we know we should do, but we don't want to do. And now here's my question: why don't we want to do it?
Because it's not easy.
There it is. There it is.
We want easy. I have one of the things that we started to do is we have a family that are rock stars in our guest experience team. They run the kids check-in centers, and her daughter and her sons, she has like 4 kids, and they help with first-time guests. If there's a first-time guest that comes with a kid, that girl or that boy is taking that kid while the mom is talking to the parents, and they're showing them the classrooms, and they're kind of partnering with them, introducing them to people, and it's awesome, just to see, who would think, you're going to allow kids to give tours and first, guest experience, first impressions team. I'm probably the first pick you'd choose, but actually it's a very wise pick that just happened to happen, for us, not just coincidentally. I don't think it's coincidence. I think the Lord knows what He's doing in that regards, and it's great seeing that family thrive and serving together, and they wear that with a badge of honor. They get to serve God that way, and these kids don't just think, church is a place that I get to go to. It's something I'm a part of, and I make a difference. I help, shy guests and first-time guests that are a little bit tentative, kids find their way and feel comfortable and welcome here and like they belong, and that's awesome.
Well, hey, we're going to take a quick break. I told you that we're going to talk a little bit more after the break, but what I want to get into after the break is I want to talk about some of the mistakes that we can make when we're trying to stop that silo mentality in our church. We can make some huge mistakes, and when he's going to be talking about that with us after we come back, we'll return with my man, Josh Wooten, right after the break.
Create lasting memories with your family this Christmas as you prepare your hearts for celebrating the coming of Jesus with the new D6 Everyday Advent Kit. Whether you have children at home or not, you will value the daily scripture readings and short devotions about the names for Jesus. For every day of the month, you will find a different family activity, as well as tools and instructions for a simple ornament that you can make together to remind you of the name of Jesus that you studied that day. Many ideas are provided, and some will work better for your family than others. The goal is for you to pick the suggestions that work and avoid feeling pressure to do it all. Even if all you do is reveal the name of Jesus for a given day and read the short devotional thought, you have succeeded in helping your family focus on Jesus, the reason for this season. Order your Advent kit while supplies last at d6family.com.
All right, everybody, welcome back. We've got Josh Wooten here, family minister extraordinaire, talking to us about breaking down the silos in church. And listen, there's a lot of mistakes. Like we were talking about earlier, sometimes I think one of the mistakes is when a minister on staff doesn't share the passion for the family ministry vision, we sometimes let them stay on too long, right? So I want you to address that. And what are some other mistakes we can make when we're trying to get the ministries work together to reach families as a whole and not just be about their deal?
Well, I think it's important to, first of all, define what family ministry is. And no matter where you are in the process, you have to continue to pitch the vision of what it is, and more importantly, what it's just not. Sometimes when I first came in the situation I'm in now, they didn't have a family ministry in place, and it was new, and people, I just assumed that they knew what family ministry was, and it wasn't easy for me because I had to really go back and realize, wait a minute, families look a lot different for a lot of people. Now, I knew that, but some people, I didn't do a good enough job of explaining it to some people, I should say. And, the students were like, wait a minute, what about us? When this family ministry, my family can't come. And, I would actually get letters in some cases. And I really had to go, you know what, let's make sure we're not excluding people groups, because families aren't just two, a husband and a wife that have first marriage and two kids and a dog and a white picket fence. Families look way different for a lot of people. There's blended family situations. There's single parents. There are groups that literally don't have any family, that the church is their family. And just making sure we're doing a good job of communicating that and going, family looks a lot different to everybody. When we say family ministry, we're talking about our church family and your family. It looks a lot, it's not going to look the same for everybody. Yeah. It's just a unification of God's people, whether it's biological or through the church.
Yeah. You're a D6 curriculum user.
Yes.
Hopefully a proud one.
Yes.
And they make one of the claims that they say all the time in their material about their curriculum is they help get every age on the same page. We've said that quite a lot. But I want you to please, as a user, because your wife works with D6, but you don't. So I want to, as far as an employee, and so as a user of the curriculum, what does that mean?
Yes, when I have only begun to use D6 within the past 2 years, and I've been in ministry for 18. It took me a little while to get there, but once where I'm at now, we started to explore the family ministry model and what that looked like, and truly bring every age on the same page, and got the entire staff and everybody bought in, in every different department from preschool and through high school, that this is what we want to do. Still not, all the way there with some of the adult classes and stuff, but that's beside the point. What it did for our students and our kids and our preschoolers was something that I didn't even see, but it was an amazing thing. We had grown to a point where we had to move our high school kids to Sunday night. And our middle school met on Wednesdays, and then the Sunday morning was our children's program. And we had some kids' classes on Wednesday nights as well. So Sunday nights, I would give a message tailored around the D6 curriculum. High schoolers have heard it. And then I had high schoolers asking if they could come back and serve as small group leaders on Wednesday nights to the middle schoolers. So they had heard this message already on Sunday. They'd had a few days to live with it and see God work it out in their life a little bit. And then they were some of my strongest middle school group leaders, man.
Yeah, that's
cool. It was amazing to watch them serve. They were running circles around some of our adults because, some adults, let's just be real, they'll show up Wednesday in the VIP meeting before a huddle, before church, and they're looking over their small group notes like, what are we talking about again tonight? And these kids have heard a message that was so dynamic, it just knocked them out. I'm just kidding. And then they had God see him work through their life in it, and they were ready to bring their A game on Wednesday nights. And these middle schoolers were then looking up to these high schoolers going, I can't wait till I get to a point where I can come serve as a small group leader and give back. And, said, hey, guess what, middle schoolers? You can help lead a group Sunday morning with our elementary age kids.
I see it.
And it's a discipleship factory, dude, that we didn't even see coming when we put this thing in place, and it just happened. And now it is one of the most beautiful things. And, I'll see on Instagram my high school leaders out at Waffle House with 10 middle school girls, and they're like, yeah, this is my crew. And they don't even let me know what's going on. I'm just like, that is what it's about right there.
Amazing.
And it's so good to see that happen. So I'm a fan of D6 now, and it's working well in my world.
That's perfect. Speaking of Instagram, if you want to follow Josh, he's allowed all of us to know his Instagram handle. You're all over the gram.
Yes, yeah.
At Josh Wooten is where you can find him to follow him. Hey man, thanks for being here. That the same every age on the same page. The answer was I know the folks at D6 are going to love you for that. I appreciate it.
At least one of them.
Thanks for being with us.
Thanks, man.
Josh, I know it's awkward when you're the interviewee. I've been there before, but you deserve this moment because you have enriched us with so much content.
Yes.
And I think now our listeners understand why you were invited in to be an MC. You and Marianne both are very talented, but we got a chance to, I know it's awkward, but shine the spotlight on the ways you think. How you, what motivates you, and what are your passions that drive you in ministry? And while we pick on the shoes, that's such a small part compared to the call of God on your life.
Mm-hmm.
So thank you for that. I just want to say thank you, Marianne. Let's start with all your notes. Let's jump into what you saw, and let's unpack these a little bit together with our listeners.
Okay, first of all, one of the statements that he made near the beginning was, part of our job as ministry leaders is to get people to think in the same direction. That is what we're doing. And it's hard. It's so hard to get people to think in the same direction. I just love that he said that. And right underneath that, which is how you do that, empowering parents make stronger families. Stronger families make a stronger church, and a stronger church makes a stronger kingdom. Yeah. Okay, you guys, this is just so good. This is so powerful.
John, before you segue on, let me jump onto that statement, get people to think in the same direction. Josh, I think most of our listeners, because we've talked about it before, know that my graduate studies and doctoral program was in leadership. I have a collection of leadership quotes from all the gurus that have ever written on a substantial level of leadership. And I keep a list of definitions of leadership, and I have my own personal one that I tweak. Yours belongs at the top of that list. Yeah. It fits. As a matter of fact, if I understood that statement 10 years ago, I could have skipped my doctoral program and just started putting that into practice, because if people will do that, that is leadership, my friend. That's right. Getting people to think in the same direction, because most of the leadership definitions is helping a group of people discover their challenges and adopt a solution for higher moral good. And you summarized it in one phrase so brilliantly.
Yeah. Well, the Lord has been good to me, and I can't take any credit. And anytime something comes into my mind that is way too smart for me, I know that it's him, and I'm not even going to try to take credit for that. He allows me to, and gone through a lot of experience and realized, but it is true. That's what we are to do. And I think a lot of that is, like I talked about, is developing that get to mentality as a church. Right. We get to do this. This is not something that we have to do. And that was actually born out of a slight frustration one Sunday morning at church when I met this lady who was working in our nursery, and she was talking to a friend, and she said, hey, I'm going to church. You want to sit with me? And she said, I'm sorry, I've got to go serve in the nursery. And something just, I'll call it a holy discontent, for lack of a better word. And I said, got to? You don't have to do anything. You get to go serve in the nursery. We get to do this. And I caught myself pretty quick, but then I actually realized that, hey, there's something to that we all get to do this. We are all on the same team. And so,
right. That's right.
I love your thoughts about helping make the transition between building a me-centered ministry to a cohesive culture. Oh man, that is powerful. And the reason why that's powerful is I think we can easily believe the lie as ministry leaders that we've got to build it around us and our personality and who we are and our giftedness. And I just want to say that really does come out of insecurity. That doesn't come out of God confidence. That comes out of insecurity. And so I love that you really bridge those, that you're moving away from building a me-centered ministry to building a cohesive culture, all moving in the same direction and with the same vision and the same heart. And we're attaching every ministry of the church and we're all fulfilling the same vision together. I love that speaks to God confidence. That says God is dictating what's happening here in this ministry, and we're going to less of us and more of him.
We call that in our family what I like to call Godfidence.
Godfidence.
Yes, it's in him. And one of the things that, I'm always trying to work myself out of a job. I think truly if any ministry or church has to have one person to make it great, then it's really not that great to begin with. It is always much bigger than all of us, and that's the truth of the matter.
So here's the transferable principle to our listeners, and here's the way that you can know whether or not you're doing what Josh is teaching us. Should you not be able to show up Sunday, or should you not be present, could what culture you have established keep going? Or is it dependent upon you to be there to keep it going? That's the question. That's kind of the litmus test. And one real sign of leadership is when the followers around you still adopt and passionately pursue the direction laid out for them when your presence is not there. So think that one through and just apply that in what Josh is teaching us. Mm-hmm. Here's the other part I want to point out about all of this, because as Marianne said, there are a ton of items that Josh has taught us. And if you're like me, when you hear Josh talk, you're like, oh, I hear a little bit of Maxwell in here. I hear a little bit of, Platt in here. And I start hearing different points, but I'm like, is it or is it not? And here's what I want you to take away from Josh's habits. Leaders are learners. They always have been. Right. Leaders are readers. Josh is a leader. He is a learner, and he doesn't simply import what other people do and copy it. He digests it and contextualizes it into his own situation or church. That's what we need to learn too from all of these items. While it may seem familiar, it's not a copycat. He doesn't just bring it in and say, oh, we do this because such and such church down there does it. Nobody wants a copycat. Nobody wants anybody just to be somebody else. Be who God has called you to be, but you can learn from the principles that other gifted leaders have surrounded you with. And Josh does that so well.
He does. I'm very challenged. And I love this too. I want to just, as we're closing and wrapping up, he says, find ways to serve every ministry. Find ways to serve every ministry. Once again, speaking to a cohesive culture. It can be so easy as ministry leaders to get very inundated in our world, in our little quote unquote silo. That's a cuss word here at D6. But here's the thing. I love that we've got to think outside. If you're a student pastor and your whole world is consumed with your student ministry, those kids in that children's ministry and those kids in that preschool ministry, they're going to be in your student ministry. And so there's value in you being present and serving in other capacities when the Lord opens up and allows for margin. I just love that, to serve in other ministries and be aware. That really creates a cohesive culture. I love that, and speaks to humility on so many levels.
So I'm gonna wrap it up here by combining the thought Marianne just did with our favorite quote that Josh has delivered us with today. Is all of these different ministries in your church that she's just challenged us to, like Josh did, to speak into those and include every ministry, avoid silos. So here's the question then. Can you take children's ministry, student ministry, preschool ministry, young adult ministry, women's, men's, you name the category. What is your church doing to get all of those to think in the same discipleship direction. I just paraphrased Josh just a little bit. But that's what family ministry is about. It's not getting rid of children's ministry or your student pastor. It's getting them all to be cohesively thinking in the same discipleship direction. I want you to examine that as you leave the podcast today. How can you make that better? Thinking about getting people in that same direction cohesively as a culture. Until next week, we're going to leave you with that thought, because that's all I want you to walk away thinking on that solution. Because Josh, you have challenged us today. We so appreciate you, and we're all richer for you being part of this team. I know I'm richer as you being a friend in my life as well. We're praying for all of you as ministry leaders, and want you to go out and do something unique that you know God is prompting you to do. We'll see you next week.
You've been listening to the D6 Podcast. You can learn more about D6 at d6family.com.